welcome to episode 257 of Late Night Linux, recorded on the 20th of November 2023. I'm Joe, and with me are Félim.
The first two equal the third.
Will.
Hello.
And Popey.
What?
I think he's doing maths.
I am.
You should try asking the AI. They'll give him the answer.
I did, and it said 2 + 5 = 7, so it must be right.
Anyway, let's get on with our discoveries. Félim, what is Nala?
Nala is a interface to lib-apt, because apt is apparently terrible, slow, and nobody likes it.
What?
It's a new way to use apt, and it's a Python package, uses rich, which I think I had that on before as one of my options, which is the kind of fancy terminal sort of one, and it looks an awful lot like a Yum update on a Red Hat system.
Why would you want to get Python involved with apt? It's fine.
Well, this is apparently quicker, so it says. It checks against various different mirrors and tries to find out which is the quickest, and it looks more pleasing, apparently. I mean, I tried it out in a VM. I'm never going to put this in my system, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's got some interesting features, like it has things like to undo the previous install or undo one of the various history items, which is kind of cool. It's just a different way of looking at apt, and I guess maybe people think apt is a bit crufty and old.
I think it's more the user interface that people like. It looks kind of pretty. It's got colors. It's got columns. It looks a bit like Pac-Man, and it's got little moving percentage bars and times and stuff. I think it's really just a bit prettier.
I have never seen so many Python dependencies when I installed it, though. Jesus Christ. Like, I like Python, but that seems an unbelievably high number of dependencies required. There was 70.
Nala is also my name, spelled backwards, and an anagram of anal.
3 reasons to use it, then.
All right, sign me up.
And Félim, you've discovered CD- or CD-.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all know CD tilde or just CD will get you to your home directory. The dots and the single dot will get you where is the current directory, double dot is the one behind.
Above, I like to think.
Yeah, whatever. Then you've got popd and pushd, which if you're really some sort of sadomasochist, I don't know who thinks like that or whoever uses it in reality. I've only ever seen it in Unix tutorials, but one I hadn't heard of before is CD- takes you to the last directory you were in, wherever that happened to be. And that is quite useful, I think.
Ah, that could be very useful, yeah.
I think push and pop are really only used in scripts. Like if you're repeatedly doing something, calling a function, you might want to push the location onto the stack, but it's a bit messy.
Maybe, but I don't know. It just feels like it's just got a recipe for unhinging. It's like base that thing on that thing that I already just did and then undo that thing. It's like, that I can't see that going wrong at all. But yeah, CD-, nice and easy.
Will, BTS Snoop logs in Android now. Obviously, BT Snoop logs in Android.
I've been shopping on AliExpress again, and I've been buying more Bluetooth-controlled LED lights for the kids. This one cost a whole £2 for 5 meters of Bluetooth-controlled 8-bit colour RGB strips that run off a USB plug, which is a bargain.
Just burn your router and all your equipment now, I think. It's infected it.
Never mind that. Wait till it burns the house down at Christmas.
yeah, it'll do it for you.
It's like 500 milliamps, and it's only Bluetooth low energy, so there's no smarts in there, really. It's a pretty dumb device. But, of course, I don't like the app that comes with it. I want to use my own app, and ideally I want to use Home Assistant. And so I had to reverse engineer the Bluetooth low energy protocol, which is pretty straightforward. But this feature of Android makes it so much easier. If you enable developer mode on an Android device, go into the developer menu. In there is a toggle switch which says enable BT Snoop. And what that does is, for Bluetooth low energy devices especially, log to a file every single Bluetooth packet that was sent or received by that Android device. And previously I've talked about how you can feed these into T-Shark and Wireshark and you can get the information out of it. But this feature of Android is extremely useful, and without it, my life would be significantly more difficult. So if you're in the market for some super cheap LEDs that can be controlled by a Bluetooth radio, get onto AliExpress, spend a couple of quid, and you'll be able to reverse engineer the protocol that's used in about 10 minutes, and you can do it all on Android and use the debugging features that come with it to help you.
Do you know that saying about cutting your own firewood warms you twice? Is that the same for Bluetooth things where you require to learn the protocol yourself? Cool.
I've just noticed BT Snoop backwards is Poons. I'll be trying not to laugh.
Well, I hate to bore everyone, but I've got yet another update on my M1 MacBook Air running Asahi.
Oh, good. Tell us more. That sounds great.
Yeah, I know you're really interested, Félim, yeah.
Have Apple bricked it for you?
No, Apple unbricked it for me, and so then I installed Fedora Asahi, which has got working speakers, and they sound basically the same as in macOS. This is amazing.
Ooh.
There is a bit of an asterisk.
They're now shattered.
No, they only work in GNOME. Now, this is having installed the GNOME version of Fedora. I then installed Plasma Desktop on top of it, and it just didn't work. No speakers at all. And so then I logged out, logged back into GNOME, and no speakers. Then I had to reboot to get back into GNOME, and then they worked fine. So you need to boot it into GNOME and use GNOME for the speakers to work, which is a little bit, not ideal, unless you love GNOME, in which case you'd quid's in. But I tried GNOME Classic, which is actually really good compared to GNOME. I like how it's almost like Mate, but less configurable.
So I'm running Ubuntu Asahi on my M1. In fact, I am using it now to record this, and I'm using audio because I'm using an external audio device.
Yeah.
But I've been watching the Ubuntu Asahi IRC channel where they chat about this kind of stuff, and it is coming. They're building packages in PPAs and putting stuff in Debian, upstreaming it into Debian. So doing it the right way, but it's just not ready for Ubuntu yet. But no doubt it will be soon.
Yeah. Excellent progress. Well done, everyone involved. Popey, you've stolen Will's discovery, Ladder.
Oopsie. So there's a website called 12foot.io, which is a service that allows you to bypass paywalls. And the premise of it is, show me a 10-foot wall and I'll show you a 12-foot ladder, which is where the name comes from, why it's called 12 foot. And this site has gone down a couple of times over the years because it's in breach of some hosting organization's terms of service. Because what you do is you go to 12foot.io, paste in a URL, and then it uses magic to show you a page that ordinarily you'd have had to pay to get into. So let's say an article on the New York Times website or something like that. You could just paste the URL in and it shows you the article. Ladder is an open source version of this. So if 12foot.io goes away, you can continue to host your own version of it or just run it locally. And I did that. I grabbed the code for Ladder, spun it up on my local machine, and point my browser at it. And it's just got a very basic web user interface with a single field that you paste a URL in. And it worked. It took me to a page that had been proxied through itself, and it had stripped out the paywall bits so I could see the full article. And it works. And it's great.
I think this will be a very useful service for me to add to my Raspberry Pi, which is doing all my other service hosting at home. I use 12foot.io quite a lot, and I found in the last week especially, maybe the last 2 weeks, it's been down a lot, and I was using it today and it was down. So it's got to the point where I don't trust it anymore, and yet I need to use it for I could pay for it, but that's not going to happen. I like to use it for a lot of reading, especially around politics and stuff like that, because most of it is reported on paywalled websites. So I am going to give this a go. If there is a Docker container, that would suit me because I'm already running a bunch of services on my Pi inside Docker. So I'm going to give that a try.
I just use archive.is.
I was going to ask, is this exactly like archive.is? Because I've never heard this 12-foot thing before. I didn't even know that analogy you were talking about. That must be a
I didn't
Bruce
either.
thing or something. Oh, right, okay.
So the thing about archive.is is I think people have to submit the URL to archive.is for it to have seen it first.
Yeah.
So someone needs to submit it. Whereas with Ladder, you can just paste any URL and it could be a brand new URL in there.
Right.
And I think what it does, and I think 12foot.io does as well, is it pretends to be a web crawler, which websites do service the requests for, because they want to be findable on search engines. So it just pretends to be a crawler and then presents to you what the results are.
It seems like a bit of a shonky system, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What, the internet supported by paywalls?
Touche.
The other thing I've been playing with is called Pake. I think that's how it's pronounced. Pake. And you are aware of Electron applications, which is basically a Chromium kind of runtime in which in a window you see a web page. Well, it's like that, but stripped down, much smaller, written in Rust, and a lot faster. And so the idea is you can run this command line tool, Pake, and give it a URL, and it chunters away a little bit and then produces a package. And so I ran it against ubuntu.social as my Mastodon instance of choice, and it created a .deb file. And you install that deb, and I've now got an application called Mastodon or Ubuntu Social or whatever you want to call it. And I can now alt-tab to that window, and in that window I have my Mastodon instance. And you can do that for any website. Now, I get it. You can just open websites in a tab in your browser. I understand that. Yes. Well done. But some of us like to be able to alt-tab to an application and then close that application rather than closing tabs or having hundreds of tabs within one window. I like to treat web applications as separate applications and be able to alt-tab to them and have an icon in the launcher to switch to them. And so I quite like this because it's a nice way to isolate an application, and it's a lot leaner than Electron.
So I use Teams in Snap. That is not the actual Microsoft project, because I've never found that to actually work very well. Is a third-party one that some guy made, which is far better. Could this do that for me, do you think?
Yeah, I guess so.
Because I don't think he's done too much work on it, because I think he maybe left it behind, but it's actually the best Teams on Linux is the unofficial one, funnily enough.
I use it for basically everything. Like YouTube I have in a window, I have WhatsApp in a window, and loads of other things like Mastodon and Threads and all kinds of other stuff, because I just like having a separate window, and if I don't want to see it anymore, I just close the window and then open it again later, just like it was an application, because so much of the stuff I use is on the web anyway. I just quite like using things as a window like that.
Yeah, I do similar, because I like the pop-out video thing in Firefox, but I like to be able to set a window to be on all desktops.
Right.
All virtual desktops is really handy, especially for chat apps, things like that, where you might want to be carrying on a conversation while you move around. So, yeah, that is actually quite cool.
Do you know what JavaScript engine it uses, or is it Electron under the covers?
It's not Electron under the covers. So when I looked at the process list, there was like a WebKit GTK or something. There's some cute WebKit, or it's something WebKitty, like embedded browser thing, but it's tiny. The deb was like 11 meg, which is a lot smaller than most of these Electron apps. So I was quite pleased with it. I don't know that it's full featured, and I haven't tested it extensively for every single website. I only recently started playing with it, but I quite like it. The reason I use it is because Chromium has the feature to split out web applications, but the snap of Chromium doesn't work properly, and every application gets the Chromium icon. And so in GNOME, they all get grouped together under one icon, which completely removes the point of having separate windows, because I want to have separate icons. So this is a workaround for that.
Okay, this episode is sponsored by Entroware. Go to entroware.com. Entroware sells computers with Ubuntu and Ubuntu Mate pre-installed. They've got a range of desktops, laptops, and servers, and most parts are configurable, so you can pick the CPU, RAM, and storage that's right for you. If you can't find exactly what you want, then do contact them, and they'll work with you on a bespoke solution that's perfect for your needs. They ship to the UK, Republic of Ireland, France, Germany, Italy, and Spain. And if you do buy one of their machines, there's a little drop-down at checkout, and you can select Late Night Linux, so they'll know that we sent you. So go to entroware.com for all your Linux computing needs. On to a bit of admin then. First of all, just a quick thank you to everyone who supports us with PayPal and Patreon. We really do appreciate that. If you want to join those people, you can go to latenightlinux.com/support. And remember that for various amounts on Patreon, you can get an advert-free RSS feed of either just this show or all the shows in the Late Night Linux family. And if you want to get in contact with us, you can email show@latenightlinux.com. Will, Zigbee to MQTT. This is some smart home bollocks, isn't it?
It is exactly what it is. I don't think I've talked about it specifically before. I did search the notes. I didn't see it in there.
I'm pretty sure you've used all those letters in the various sentences before.
Yeah,
Maybe not this
definitely.
exact use case.
This is by no means a recent discovery. I've been using it for years, but nevertheless, it's worth calling out. If you have a network at home of Zigbee devices, then using Zigbee to MQTT is a really good way to create a network in your house which just reports everything straight into MQTT, and then you can pipe it into pretty much anything else you want. It's free and open source. It's got support for a lot of devices, especially the Aqara devices, which are kind of Xiaomi branded Zigbee sensors and radiator valves and light switches and everything, all supported straight out of the box. The level of support is very, very good. All of the features are generally supported. Dead easy to use, nice web interface, fast, and the guy who maintains it is really reactive on GitHub and gets back to people and fixes bugs a lot. There's probably a release every month, I would say, with a whole bunch of bug fixes and new devices in there. So if you're in the market for Zigbee devices, check out Zigbee to MQTT, and you'll be very happy with that as a solution.
How do you find all these manufacturers? Do you just take random pot shots in the dark of
Yes.
various cheapo stuff and just get a big pile delivered in a oneer?
My methodology is to go to AliExpress, type in Zigbee sensors, sort by price, lowest first, and then just order a bunch of them.
Bit like me with guitar pedals on Amazon, just guitar pedal, sort by price. 13 quid chorus pedal. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Since I've recently installed Home Assistant and it can't see anything because I haven't got a Zigbee adapter in there, I'm going to need to tap you up for this. Or should I just do that algorithm that you've just specified of AliExpress?
That's a proprietary technology. You would have to pay a license if you want to do that, Alan.
Right, of course.
You need a USB stick that talks Zigbee, and you can get a whole bunch of those. You can get some really cheap ones that are based on a Texas Instrument SoC. You can get those off eBay for probably a couple of quid, $5 or something like that. All the way up through a Sonoff branded one, which has got a power amp in it, which is good for, wider areas. Or there's a retailer, I think based in the UK, called Electro Llama. And for that reason alone, you should go and check out their shop. They sell one which is based on the same TI chipset, but which is all open source, open hardware, and works extremely well. So I would recommend that. I think it's about 20 quid. And then plug it in.
Nice. Thank you for that.
And then you can go to Big Clive's YouTube channel to see what happens when it all goes terribly wrong and on fire.
Remember when Google changed their policy with Google Photos, where the photos you back up were now counting against your total amount of storage? Well, at the time, I started a new account and uploaded everything to it and thought, I'll probably have a couple of years and then I'll think about it then. Well, a couple of years has gone by and now I have to think about it. And so I thought, right, well, I should probably just do something local because I don't need all the photo searching shit. I just need to back up stuff off my phone, my precious, precious memories. And so I thought, right, Nextcloud. Gave that a little bit of a go with the Snap and just got really frustrated trying to get it to talk to a ZFS dataset. It just wouldn't work. I'm too thick, whatever. So then I thought, maybe like PDO or C-File or something like that. And then I thought, well, hang on. I've got an Android phone. Why don't I just install Termux, install rsync, set up some keys, and then just rsync my shit onto my NAS? And sure enough, that's what I do. I've just got a little script that rsyncs it. And it's just such a simple solution. I feel like I'm doing something wrong because it's too simple. I feel like someone should probably point out the flaw in my brilliant plan here.
So something a friend of mine did many, many years ago in the days of long before these generations of smartphones existed. So we're talking Nokia 6680 or something like that. That had like a Java user interface and ran Symbian or something. He wanted to do the same thing. And what he did was on his home server, he would have a script that polled for the Bluetooth device that was his phone to check to see if it's in the building. And if it's in proximity, then he would, you'd do the rsync over SSH or whatever, grab the files to test if you're in the house. Now, I know you never leave the house, so that's not a problem for you.
Yeah.
But, if you ever did leave the house, it might be handy to have something that detects when the phone is there and then starts doing the rsync or whatever it is.
Well, the thing is, I thought I'd be clever and set up a cron job to do this. So I did a bit of a test one and it all worked fine. And then I thought, let me actually exit Termux and see if that cron job's going to run in the background. Well, it did not run in the background. You need to have Termux open, and I'm not having that because it'll just kill my battery. And so I'm now in this situation where I have to remember every morning to fire up Termux and manually run the script. And that's not a good idea for a backup.
Why don't you use something that's built for this, like Nextcloud?
Because Nextcloud just pissed me off because I thought it'll be really easy to set it up with the Snap. And I've tried a couple of times now, and maybe the common denominator here is the Snap factor, but it's just so easy to get Nextcloud going as long as you want to store shit in your home directory, which I just don't want to do. And I thought, all right, well, I'll be clever and have a symlink then. No, that didn't work. And there's just no way, no easy way, let's just say, to get it to talk to the storage that I want it to write to.
Yeah, there probably is. I can give you 2 lines that will do it. And it can be done. It's pretty straightforward. You just do a bind mount and Snap Connect removable media, and that's it.
Now, I tried all that, but it won't talk to ZFS.
It doesn't need to talk to ZFS. It needs to talk to a folder that is mounted. So, create a folder somewhere in your pile of ZFS nonsense and mount it under /media or MNT, and it will find it.
I didn't think to do that, actually. Yeah, because I got as far as mounting external storage.
It does work. That's what I did on my Nextcloud box before I wiped it and turned it into a Home Assistant box. I had the external hard drive as, a giant blob of storage that was mounted under MNT or /media or somewhere, and then the Snap can see it. It is a bit janky, but, it's just 2 commands and then you're done.
Well, part of it is because I want it to be just the simplest possible solution, but also a really hacky solution. But one of the problems is that Termux has not been updated for nearly 2 years, which gives me pause. This is the F-Droid version. Now, I looked on GitHub and it's the latest version of it. Is it just finished or what? Surely not.
I don't know. But I put it to you that you don't want the simplest solution. You want the solution that works because these are your photos and you probably don't want them to disappear up the wazoo. You want them to actually get to their destination.
Yeah, but once they're on my NAS, then they're backed up as far as I'm concerned.
Of course. So there's lots of options, and no doubt you will get lots of feedback after this episode goes out with 1,000 different suggestions for how you could do this better.
Yeah, I'm sure I will. But I'd prefer it to just be, I'm just a hipster. What can I say? I don't want to use Nextcloud or one of the mainstream solutions. I want to use some weird, running a command in a cron job solution.
Okay, boomer.
Félim, you finally bought a new TV and it runs Tizen, and it turns out that HDMI cables matter.
Yes, so I was more happy about this until I did a bit of research after the fact and discovered that apparently Samsung Tizen is really terrible. So, I'm essentially looking at how I'm going to route my TV with a known CVE, which apparently it will have. It's almost a given. So, I look forward to that. But HDMI cables matter. Yeah, I see. Obviously there's the running meme of the gold-plated HDMI cable. Well, apparently there is a slight bit to it in a similar way in the fact that there's multiple versions, which I was just oblivious to.
Oh, yeah, you got your 2 and 2.1 and all that bollocks. And one can do 4K at 30 hertz and one can do it at 60 hertz and all that, yeah.
Well, where was all this information from me when I didn't know? I've used HDMI on my PC monitors and stuff like that, no problem. The Raspberry Pi that runs Kodi for the house wasn't working properly at all. It was a 4K TV, and you'd switch it to, you'd tell Kodi to go into normal mode, and it'd be the top left corner of the screen, literally the quarter of it.
Oh, right.
And yeah, it was all down to cable. It's always the fucking cable. And yeah, so I didn't realize that was a thing, but apparently it is. And even reordering them meant that the PlayStation 5 actually kicked into proper gamer mode. So it goes faster than 60. I think it goes to 100 hertz or something like that on the TV, on the screen. And, it didn't pick that up. I was all to do with shuffling which order they went in. So, yeah, needlessly complicated, but there we go.
So you finally cracked and bought yourself a smart TV. Did you connect it to the network or not?
Yeah, to get updates. I wanted to get updates. I mean, it is right now still hooked up, but to be honest, it's terrible.
Why didn't you just take our advice and just not connect it? Use it as a dumb screen.
I will use it as a dumb screen, but you have to get the updates to start off with, because otherwise it goes, ooh, I can't talk to the fucking ARC fucking audio system properly or whatever. So yeah, pinhole. They're all shit. I just really wish you could just get a dumb screen, but yeah, that's...
You can.
No,
I got a cheap screen and it's dumb. It's got HDMI inputs.
How big is it?
It's got an analog audio output, 55 inches, and I plug the analog output into speakers, plug an HDMI input onto the screen, jobs are good in.
Okay, well, in Ireland, you cannot get something like that. I'm just telling you, right?
Well, I paid like 300 quid for mine as well.
Nah, you can't. You can't get it. If you look for anything, it'll be at best one of those commercial display units, which you have no idea how good they are, and they'll be way more than that.
Well, don't get me wrong, mine has got all sorts of smarts in it and, bullshit, and it hassles you to connect it to the network when you first turn it on. But fuck that noise. It has never seen the network, never will see the network. It is a dumb screen, as far as I'm concerned, with loads of smarts and bullshit software in it, and I just use it like a monitor.
Félim, didn't you buy just a commercial display last time?
No, our TV prior to this was really old. It was it was actually Samsung again, funnily enough, but it was a 32-inch LCD from about 2008. So, I mean, we were well due an upgrade, but it just never had seen anything that I'd really wanted to get. And this one is all right. I mean, I think, what was it? It was about $550, and it's not bad. It's a 4K screen. It's got some fancy enough features on it and things like that. That's okay. But yeah, I mean, I just... like the OS on it itself, all the bits that it does, not super impressive. And, I'd rather have a Pi that is actually getting proper updates all the time than, I mean, let's face it, this thing would be doing well to get an update in about a year's time, I'd say.
On the HDMI topic, the Wikipedia page called Just HDMI is very comprehensive. And if you ever need to get to sleep at any point, while researching the different cable versions, I'd highly recommend it.
So our dog ate the PlayStation 4 VR headset cable when it was a puppy. And I have since discovered that is actually 2 HDMI cables wired through one cable. And I attempted to resolder that. And I can just say that cable never got fixed, and that headset is now the Wii. It sat on a shelf for about 2 years, me looking at it every time now and again going, nah, that colour is the same as that colour. How are those two things different? And it was like 3 strands of copper. So fuck that whole standard and its shitty fucking cabling. DisplayPort for the win.
Yeah, we need tellies with DisplayPort.
Yes, we do. No licensing bollocks.
Why is that not a thing?
Exactly.
It's very annoying. Right, well, we better get out of here then. I forgot to thank you for joining us last time, Popey.
It's fine.
Well, yeah, thank you. It's been really great having you. We've had a really good time.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, great.
Good.
Well, anyway, we'll be back in a couple of weeks without Popey, thankfully.
Thank you.
But until then, I've been Joe.
I've been Félim.
I've been Will.
I suppose I've been Popey.
See you later.